At the shogi chess club, the president and his members are having a tight match. However, this guy still praised the cute boss while playing. She blushed. She asked directly if he liked her. Bucko gives a bunch of proofs and promises that if he admits he likes her she will hug him tightly. Feeling that the reward she continued to increase wasn't enough, he stared at her for the reason he needed to concentrate for the first game and didn't answer. Bucko Urashi was angry that she beat him too. Then she advises that to win a chess match he needs to attack. Meanwhile, he only knows how to defend. He scratched his head feeling he was more suited to defense. Urashi sneered normally, then flirted with her repeatedly but professionally did not know how to do it. He found those things completely normal, he was just telling the truth. Urashi blushed and tried to talk back but was too embarrassed to do so. After school, Urashi went to the club excitedly, and just as she walked down the stairs she accidentally met Tamaka standing with a member of the kendo club. He admires Tamaka's talent so he invites him to join the club. This scared Urashi very much. She and him went to the Urashi club to try to praise Tamaka's progress as much as possible. Tamaka knew what she was thinking, so he decided to reassure Urashi that he was not interested in that club. Going to the chess room, Urashi happily boasted that she was about to have a new member. Tamaka's face changed instantly, he just wanted to play chess alone with her. As for Urashi, it is different to form a club that requires 4 members, only one more is needed. The shock came to Urashi, who was about to join, and her boyfriend left her immediately. Tamaka was overjoyed. The next day she sat in a corner sighing during PE class and Tamaka approached. Urashi thought he was spying on her. Everything Urashi encountered Tamaka knew all about. Tamaka seriously asked Urashi if she was tired he was willing to skip class with her. Urashi thought for a while and decided to enter the class. Tarashi smiled and promised to meet again at the club. After that they focused on chess again. Tamaka this time confident of being able to defeat Urashi he immediately deployed his new position. Urashi laughed. She explained to him in detail how this position should be deployed. It is very strong in defense but weak on the flanks. Tamaka jumped up and ran past Urashi sitting. Sitting on the opposite side listening to the explanation is a bit confusing. This put a lot of pressure on Urashi, who continued to teach Tamaka until the time she left. It was raining heavily. Urashi brought an umbrella and Tamaka didn't. He came up with the idea of going together even though he returned. Urashi was afraid that she would take this opportunity to attack Tamaka, but he was not embarrassed at all. Urashi was shy at first, but then Urashi became more relaxed. Tamaka just wished it would rain like this tomorrow. Episode 2, the school holds a sports festival. Fate intends to pair Urashi and Tamaka on the same team. However, Tamaka is energetic and successful in all subjects, so much as Urashi Sr. With such an achievement, everyone wants Tamaka to compete in the next sport. Urashi rejected the others on Tamaka's behalf. They all looked at each other in bewilderment, not knowing that there was this shogi club at school. She sadly sat down under a tree. Tamaka ran over to cheer her up. He will go find a member to help her. At this moment, Urashi's classmate ran over. She was Maki. She went to ask Tamaka for help. She was not feeling well, so she wanted Tamaka to compete in 3-legged race for her. Tamaka happily accepted. He and Urashi took the position to prepare for the match. Urashi doesn't feel well, their height is too different, this will affect Tamaka. He showed her the couple racing beside him just like them to give Urashi more peace of mind. As soon as the match started, both fell on their faces. They continued the match even though the result was last. And then the most explosive part came. Urushi was most afraid of this part. Tamaka knew that and encouraged her. Tamaka focused on playing as hard as he could, surpassing most of the players. However, the referee wanted to make the game more dramatic, so he added a rule to the last race. They will draw lots and do exactly what is on the paper. Watching Tamaka draw lots for her friend Maki started teasing Urushi. Is it possible that he won the lottery for the person he likes? As expected, Tamaka ran straight to the place, carrying Princess Urushi to the finish line. Urushi was so surprised that he couldn't do anything. In the end, the victory belonged to Tamaka's team. The referee ran out to check the paper. It turned out not to be the person he liked. Tamaka hit the paper holding a cute object to the finish line. This caused Urushi to die inside for a bit. As for his friend Takaru, he won a lottery for the person he liked, so he had to give up. The next day he and his friend Sakura were reading a book when Tamaka ran in and asked Takaru to join the club. Takaru disagrees that Sakura hypnotized him to sign the application. Takaru has a reason to refuse. he won't be able to go home with Sakura again if he joins the club. However, once he reaches this country, Takaru will join but only as an honorary member. Tamaka happily ran back to show Urushi how excited she was, thanking him. They went to buy fish cakes together and then went to the park. At this time Urushi wanted to know about the new member. He and Takaru have been kendo friends for a long time, just like Takaru is only an honorary member. Urushi was a bit surprised, but it's nice to have a member. Tamaka is quiet, as expected, he still prefers two people. At this moment, Urushi suddenly blurted out that she also likes Tamaka. I mean, liking a piece with the same name as him, Urushi was too afraid to run away. Episode 3. The next day when Tamaka went to the club, he quickly sat down on the chessboard without noticing Urushi Nuna. She began to attract Tamaka's attention, which she eventually succeeded. Tamaka complimented Urushi that this hairstyle was so cute that she blushed. Later, honorary member Takaru arrives at the club. After an hour of self-introduction, Urushi started teaching Takaru how to play chess. During that time, Urushi Nuna kept calling Takaru very talented. Tamaka was extremely jealous. At this moment Sakura ran over to use hypnosis to pull Takaru back to the library. So there were only two people left in the club, there was no more momentum to stop Tamaka's face. When he returned to the library, Takaru woke up, and angrily asked why, only to find out that Sakura wanted to push Tamaka and Urushi's sister's boat. Hearing that Takaru started asking Sakura if she liked anyone. Sakura frankly she doesn't like anyone. Takaru left to go to the bathroom, and as soon as he reached the door, Sakura gave an excuse. She doesn't like anyone because being around Takaru is enough to make her happy. Takaru returned to his seat immediately. Meanwhile at the club Urushi stopped playing chess to prepare something. Looking at Tamaka's clothes, she immediately guessed that she was going to set up a stall selling something in the upcoming hall. Urushi smiled and reminded Tamaka of her shop. She and her friends will sell noodles at the hall. Tamaka immediately agreed. He invites her to go on a date with him in the upcoming hall, to which Urushi agrees. However, this is a bit embarrassing, so she thinks it will be to recruit members. The hall has come, she can't sell any sales. Right at this moment a voice wants to buy. Urushi happily turned out to be Tamaka. He ran out here panting, which touched Urushi very much. However, she still had to finish the sale before going out with him. Tamaka will help her sell as quickly as possible by forcing her friend Takaru to buy all the goods. So the two sisters had time to walk around the stalls. For Tamaka this was his first time going on a date without knowing what to do, so Urushi volunteered to be the guide. Her friend Maki teased, Urushi was too shy. After that, the two of them went to Sakurako's stall. She took on the task of checking tickets to the haunted house. At this time, there were two girls running out screaming because Takaru threatened. Heroic blood emerges. Tamake leads Urushi's sister to the haunted house. Sakura looked for Takaru and reminded him to scare them less so they could spend time together. Takaru agreed, but Sakura was uneasy so she stayed to watch over him. Being in the same place as your crush made Takaru unbearable pressure. He jumped up and shouted as the Tamakas approached. Urushi was startled and ran out. Tamaka brought water to cheer her up. They sat there together. Tamaka wanted to know what Urushi-san liked about this guild so he could do it next year. Urushi is very happy, she doesn't like anything but just wants to be with him. Episode 4. Today Tamaka went to the club without seeing Urushi. She was hiding in a cardboard box waiting for her chance to scare Tamaka. He walked out. Tamaka knew where Urushi Uni was doing. If she wanted to scare him, he would pretend to be startled. Tamaka returned to the room to expose as much as possible. Urushi-san ran out of her breath, and Tamaka yelled. He acted like he really made her very happy. Urushi tried to get the book from the top of the cabinet. Tamaka reached for it. She was renovating this club room. Urushi's sister opened the window and the cold wind rushed in, freezing her body, so she closed it immediately. Urushi thought in this situation maybe Tamaka would dress her up. Tamaka exclaimed that Urushi stopped him, but he didn't mean to. Tamaka took the box to let her sit down, then the two cleaned the room together. The light bulb was brought by the teacher, took the whole table, but Urushi still couldn't reach the light bulb. Tamaka wanted to help, but she refused. Only then finished installing. It's almost the end of the year and Urushi Nim doesn't have any plans, but she's still happy to have her juniors help her clean the room. Tamaka knows her wish, only one more member they will have an official club room. But he still wanted to stay here because there were so many memories here. The next day after school, Tamaka went to the club. Urushi-san was waiting to show Tamaka the TV she had just found from the pile of old things. It was still usable, but she didn't have a DVD. Asked Tamaka if he had it, he stammered yes, but this was inconvenient. Turns out Tamaka is a fan of zombie movies. They stopped there to prepare to play chess. Tamaka lost miserably. Urushi realizes he has something different every day. It's almost the end of the year and he still hasn't won against me, so Urushi will take on Tamaka. While playing, Tamaka mentioned Christmas, surprising Urushi. Maybe he was going to ask me out. Played one round due to handicap, so Urushi also lost. Tamaka had promised himself before that if he won, he would confess. Tamaka was about to speak when the garbage collector came. Takeru and Sakura went home. He mustered up the courage to ask Sakura out. She doesn't like crowds, it's more fun to eat cake at home, of course, with Takeru. As for Tamaka and Urushi who just returned, Tamaka seriously has something to tell Urushi. She was looking forward to it, but in the end Tamaka still couldn't speak her heart out. New Year Rushi and her best friend Maki go to the temple. Maki looks at it and knows that Urushi is thinking about Tamaka. She sneered at Urushi if she didn't meet him here, and as soon as she finished speaking, she met him. Tamaka begged them to let me go. Maki-senpai handed her friend over to Tamaka and ran off to drink beer. Urushi and Tamaka went to visit the temple. They dropped money for good luck and then went to draw fortune-telling. Tamaka picked up the big sand hexagram and Urushi got the big one. She fears that her wish will not come true. Tamaka encouraged her. He made Urushi's wish come true.